Hello, Marco. How is it going for you at the moment?
Hello, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's going really well. We get a lot of great response for a new album, and it's so overwhelming that we cannot really believe it yet because many people say it's the best album we ever made, and this is something that you don't hear every time. So it seems to be something special going on at the moment. It's a good feeling.
So overall, are you the kind of guy who actually follows what medias and fans writes about your band, or do you try to stay away from the reviews and critics yourself?
Let's say once I got to know that feedback is so positive, like all the way through, I was checking out a few of those. So, because it's of course nice to get to know.
But it's still quite rare because it's more easier. Obviously, I've been working with an online media for 20 years now, and it's way more easier to write that negative comment than that positive comment.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I would be thinking that nowadays, in the anonymity of the internet and like with all the rage that people are having from their everyday lives, they tend to be more negative, but
Yeah,
maybe not that much for music, which is a good thing.
yeah, for sure. So obviously, The Wonder Still Awaiting was released 3rd of February. So in terms of like making the album, when did actually the process start for you?
Oh, that's actually already a few years ago, and it's a kind of a fluent process. It's not like um, okay, songs are ready, the band enters the studio together. Nowadays, it's a bit different, Look, as a songwriter, I work in my home studio already recording demos of the songs, and then I take the same Cubase projects to replace tracks with the ones that should be the finished recordings that I will be sending to the mix. Um, so yeah, that started, I think, like almost a year before we released the single, so in 21,
Okay.
the recording process. But the writing process was earlier, of course. It was like oof, I almost lost a bit track of it because we had quite a long break as Xandria, and I was just at some point starting to write new songs when I felt like it, after having a little bit of off time that was really necessary from the business and everything around. Um, yeah, and I think it was maybe around 2019 that I had the first new ideas and started to work on them. And I gave it all the time it needed. That was a very good experience. It was just when the songs were actually almost finished and we could see, okay, this is going to be an album, like with
Okay.
everything we have. Then we were starting to plan really what to do, like when to go to the studio, um, like when to set release dates, like communicating with the record label and all of those things. That happened
So
only later. So before, there would be all the time in the world for letting the music grow, the way it needs without any set release date or any other pressure on it.
so was it like the most relaxed like album making process for you so far in your career because you didn't have a deadline for it?
You could say so, actually. It was maybe a little bit like a band has it before doing a debut album, because before you release your first album, you also have all the time in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
Before you decide to send a demo to record labels, oh wait, no, 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 it's 2023. You don't do that anymore nowadays. That was back in the day when I started with Xandria. Then we did stuff like that. We went into a studio back then, recorded a CD, but actually already then, it was in the year 2000, I was uploading songs to an internet platform where you could present yourself as an underground band to fans. It was nothing commercial. I think it's not existing anymore. So not like the streaming service of maybe a little bit like Bandcamp nowadays.
Okay.
And um, And then someone from the first record label that we got a contract with, and Dakar Records, he heard us there, and that's how the story with us went. So it was already a little bit in a modern way that we went like our first step in our career there. Yeah, but there was another time, it was before the Never World's End album. We also had a little bit of a break because of lineup changes in the band, and it was taking a bit longer to really finish the process, but that gave me also quite some time back then to work on the music, which was good. So the conclusion for me is really to take that freedom, like with all the experience of 20 years now, to take that freedom as a musician, to take the time that I need. Not that I, always want to have 5 years between albums, not like that, but for sure not, okay, the album was working well. Next year at that time, like the record label telling me that, so great what you did there. Next year at the time, we got to release the next album, so you better move your ass and go to the studio next week. So this is something I won't do in the future for sure.
Was that one of the reasons why you wanted to have those breaks along with the lineup changes, that you felt that you sort of needed to get outside from that sort of like endless cycle that release an album, go on tour, release an album, go on tour, release an album, go on tour?
Yeah, for sure. That was a big part of it. But there were also things that needed to be settled within the band. After the last single left in 2017, we weren't really sure in like how to proceed. And we had the feeling we did not want to just rush into decisions, and just there was actually at the time there was pressure from the business partners around to be quick with proceeding, to quickly find a new singer and just quickly take the next step. But we had the feeling that it would not be good because we needed to figure a few things out among us. So that's what we did. It took a little bit of time, which I also really needed as the one who founded the band and who was always carrying the musical vision of it. And I did not really feel it at the time anymore to just to just sit down and write new songs, because I felt the environment was not right for it at the time. So we took this longer break, and in the end it turned out when we sat down and talked again that it would be better to go separate ways. I would carry the torch for the name Xandria, which is natural because I was always the main songwriter, so it's my musical vision. And then I was looking for new musicians, and that's what's happened in the meantime, among other things.
So at what point do you normally present the music to the other members? Are they like involved? Like, for example, on this like latest album, were they like involved, or were they like sort of like chosen afterwards when all the writing and that kind of stuff, the creative process was done?
Yeah, they were actually, this time it was different anyway because it's a new lineup with new musicians, and they were actually joining after I was practically finished with writing the material for the new album, with one exception, and that is the singer Ambre. She was there from the start. We knew each other for quite some time already, and right before I had the first new ideas for Xandria songs, we were having something like a side project together, but more something for fun. That's nothing is to see the light still or something. We were just toying around with some musical ideas, which for me was great as just like a breeze of fresh air, to do something different also, which I sometimes like to do. And it turned out that she had the voice that I wanted for the future of Xandria. So it was quite a natural process then to just, with a to work with her on the ideas I already had for Xandria, or that I was having at this moment then, you know, because we were already working together on something else. So just, okay, maybe just sing me a vocal track on this idea I have here. And then it turned out it was just really sounding great. And so one step was taken there, and then yeah, we continued working on that path, and she was there the whole process of the songwriting, because whenever I had ideas, I was exchanging with her, and she would sing on it, so I could see how it would sound in the end with her vocals on it, and we were experimenting a lot with her different vocal styles, which was really, really great for me as a songwriter, that she can sing so diverse styles, you know. She can do pop rock vocals, like very beautiful and sensitive, but also powerful, with a little bit of raspiness in her voice. And she can do a little bit of classical vocals also. I mean, she could do more, but we don't do them throughout the whole album anymore. We just put them in some spaces where the music demands it. And this, moreover, we have these growls now that she can also do, which is really great, because I always wanted to do that. Or let's say I discovered that it was something that I actually always wanted to do on the last album, when we had Björn from Soilwork doing some growls on one of our songs. And I was thinking, yeah, actually it would be nice to have that in the future too. And what could be better than have your main singer being able to do that too, you know?
But do you
That's
all
really great.
was it like mandatory for you that you sort of have the singer already before you are making the songs, that you sort of know where the singer is capable of when you are creating the music itself?
Let's say it just was that way this time. There was not a plan behind it. It just happened because we were working together already, and it was just yeah, coming together naturally that way. It was not a plan, but it probably helped the writing process, that I knew what I could do with the songs,
Yeah.
and how the voice would sound on it. That was for sure helping. I didn't do it always that way. Like back then, the Never Will's End album, which was the first one where we were using mostly the classical vocals. The songs were written already before Manuela was joining the band back then. And I
Okay.
just knew I wanted this kind of voice. So I was writing the album for it. And then we were looking for a singer um, who was having exactly that voice.
But isn't it
Um,
like quite difficult that way? Sorry to interrupt you, but isn't it like quite difficult to find the sort of like voice for your vision?
mm. Yeah, it was back then actually. I mean, there are a lot of singers, or at the time back then, there were quite some singers around who had a more classical voice, but mm, I also wanted one that, beside the, you know, the technical aspect of it, because, you know, classical voices are always very like technical. You got to have a very good technique for it. Um, but for me, it needed to be also very emotional, like transporting the emotions the same, and not just being perfect on a technical level. And uh, you are right. It's not that easy to find it, but we found it back then, which was great, of course. Um, yeah, but this time, yeah, it was maybe good that it went a little bit different.
So obviously you are the only like original member on this latest album. So
Mm.
were you like nervous how will the fans take when there's like completely a new lineup and everything is sort of new except you?
Yeah, sure. Of course, it's a little bit difficult to uh, to predict how people would react to it. Fortunately, they reacted very well to it, which I'm very thankful for all the warm welcomes that we got from the fans when we were finally at the surface again, you know, and visible when we released our single, Reborn, aptly titled, you know, like back then, last May. That was a good experience, but it was not part of the decision-making process really, because you know, I kind of needed to do what I needed to do. It could have not been another way anyway, so I just needed to take it the way it comes. But this, I needed to proceed to continue with my musical vision. I just needed a new start, and if that would not have been an option, there might not have been a Xandria anymore at all. So
when you are now like looking back to all the lineup changes, do you feel that still the path has been like quite logical for you? That you have sort of always found the sort of like new members and pieces to the puzzle that you sort of needed to have?
yeah, I think musically you could really say that that like especially on the last few albums, it was fitting well together, you know, the voices and the music and everything that the other musicians what came together there, you know, the musicianships. Yeah, you could really say that. I can agree with that. But of course, there were some challenges and bumps along the way. Of course, when you have a lineup change, it gets you a little bit yeah, out of track. Of course, it pushes you off the track, and you need to get back on track. And this is requiring quite some energy always. But somehow we always managed. It was not always, also musically speaking, like before, like there were also, like before the Neverworld's End, there were also times when it musically also did not come that well together. Like the album before, it's not really something I would do again that way. But yeah, it's long gone in the past now, and it's just all steps in a learning process, and that's what life is. You don't always know the right decisions beforehand, and the only thing you can do is learning from things that did not feel right in hindsight.
So the Wonder Still Awaiting is like very diverse album, and as you said, there's like even vocally quite a lot of like different stuff happening. So was that sort of like your aim when you were like making the album, that you wanted to make the band like sound even more diverse than before?
Yeah, it became kind of an aim halfway through, because when I started to have the first new ideas, there was no plan of how an album would be sounding like overally, because I just let the creative energy flow, you know, to not be restricted by anything. Xandria was always, for me, kind of a playground to do everything that I want to do, to put everything together that I love about music. I love many different styles in metal music, and I love film scores. I love folky elements like Celtic and Arabian music, and which is also a little bit part of the film score element, because in film scores, it's being used the same way. It's as I'm not a native folk musician, I can only try to do a reminiscence of it, you know, like honor it in the way that I'm a fan of it. So I would never say like it's authentic Celtic folk what I'm doing here, but So I see it more like a part of the film score element in Xandria, that it's used to transport the listener into some other, imaginary movie. That is really nice to do. I love to put it all together. So that's why it's also diverse, and even more this time, because I did not put any limits. I was just writing songs, even if when they were quite different. Like there's one song that started like a reference to my longtime favorites, Paradise Lost. And funnily, we just kept the working title. It's still called Paradise on the album. But yeah, when we put it on the album and we arrange it in a way that comes naturally, like, with the film score elements, it all comes together very well, I think. And this is something that I really love, to always try something new. That's why it's also so diverse, and you hear stuff that has not been on Xandria albums before. Because I love the challenge as a songwriter. I would never want to do, like, get a call from the record label. Okay, Marco, this was working well. Please just do a copy of that album for the next album. This is not something I would want to do. I think I would rather quit than doing that.
Yeah.
Because I just want to try out everything that I find interesting, and this is a challenge that keeps me motivated, that keeps me excited.
So when you are making a new album, do you always start from the beginning and end to the last song, or how does the process work for you? Can you even create an album like which starts from the middle, that you make a song from the middle and then you go sort of like both ways to make it a full album, or how does that process work for you?
That's an interesting question. I've seen a question like this asked for a musician just recently, but I don't remember where. And I was thinking, I never thought of it like that as a songwriter, because when I write songs, I never already know the order for the album. I just
Okay.
write songs and they stand on their own. And
Okay.
when there is a bigger number of songs, or let's say when they are all there, then we put together an order. The things that I sometimes know already is, okay, what I'm doing here, it sounds for me like it could be an opener for an album. Like this
Yeah,
sounds
that was
for it
what
should
I was
start with it.
wondering.
Yeah. This happens actually. Although even that has been switched last second for the new album. Like the opener two words,
Okay.
the first song was actually like throughout the songwriting process, it was more meant to be something like for the middle of the album.
Okay.
And I wanted first to have the first song start a little bit more right away without a long intro or something, to just I don't know, do a little bit of a change to what we usually did in the past. But when the song was finished, and this was the last song to be finished in the writing process, we were thinking now that this should be the opener of the album. This should be the thing that starts it all, that people will hear first when they start listening to the whole album.
Yeah, I would imagine that it would be like easier for my brain to sort of start for the beginning. Like when you are making the first song, you sort of know where is it gonna go. But I've noticed that like every musician is like very different with that. And as you said, that you could sort of like bounce them like even in the end, that this will go there and this will go there and this will go there.
Yeah,
It's quite
that's right.
interesting process because it's very different for everyone.
Mm. And I think it can even change from album to album.
Yeah.
Like when we would decide, okay, the next album will be a concept album, and it needs to start in a certain way, then I would probably write a song that is meant for that, and then of course it would go a whole different way. I wonder if when Pink Floyd wrote The Wall, if they already knew how to start it, and if it was more like, okay, we have the concept and we have the A, B, C, D
Yeah.
parts for this album, and then they were just writing the music for those parts accordingly. Or if it was the other way around, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's very
but
interesting,
it
yeah.
can be either way.
Yeah, for sure. It can be.
So as you said that obviously music and film scores have been an influence to you. And now it's been quite big news that artificial intelligence, that's a difficult word to pronounce, but that's been quite big thing now also in music. They have been creating like cover arts and even some like lyric videos and such through that. So how do you see it like yourself as a musician? Would you see yourself using something like that in the future, or do you feel like cheating when using something like that, or how do you feel about it yourself?
That's a good question. I was not thinking about it too much. I heard about it. Actually, there were graphical visual artists even contacting us in the last months, like offering us some visual work they did this way,
Yeah,
artificial intelligent way. But yeah, I don't really know how that process is going. Like, is there some software in which you put some words that are to set the mood for it, and then
yeah,
it's
and
really
I guess
done
some
from
kind of like
scratch?
references as well that they can like
All
learn
right.
from those references. That I guess that's I
Okay.
don't know the exact concept how it works, but I
Yeah.
guess that it's like that.
So yeah, that is really interesting, of course, but I was not thinking too much about it yet, and also um, not that much that it's needed for me to make any decisions. But I would not really feel like when it's about music. About artwork, it might be different. Like I could imagine to maybe at least try to get some interesting artwork for an album, for the booklet this way. This could be interesting, but for the music, yeah, I don't think so. It would be like um, like going to some other songwriters that are not in the band and just ask them to write songs for Xandria, um, which which is something um, that I wouldn't do. I would write songs with other songwriters together, but I would not let someone else just do something that has nothing to do or that comes not at all from within the band. Um, and it would feel a little bit the same, I think. So I guess that's not really what I wanted to do. But artificial intelligence, yeah, me too now. um, um, I think it can be a tool in details, maybe, when in the recording process, production process of an album, not to write music, but maybe to try things for the arrangements. Like I have a string line here, and you let the software create a few more harmonies to it. And these kind of things are already existing. This can be helpful in the production process, in the arrangement of the songs, but for the writing, yeah, that needs to come from the heart, definitely.
Yeah, and there can be also like copyright issues if it's like if you're like telling somebody that make a Slayer song and then you put the Slayer discography there to make a new Slayer song. I guess it's sort of like a gray
Right.
area that is it's like okay to do so.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't even thinking of that. But it's always with those new technologies that there
Yeah,
comes a whole moral and legal part of it that you have not been thinking about. And this is, yeah, it's interesting. Let's see what happens in the future with that. I don't know. Like I said, it's maybe interesting as a tool for helping realizing things that you do on your own, but not letting it uh, do that for you,
yeah.
what you would do on your own.
So before we wrap things up, I want to ask you a bit about the future. So
Mm.
how does the future look at the moment?
Um, you mean for Xandria, right?
Yeah, for Xandria.
Yeah, right. Because at the moment you could really um, take that question as like, okay, look at the world. What do you think about that? Because
That would
yeah,
be a topic for another full interview, most likely.
definitely. And and we are touching a lot of these topics also in our lyrics. So that's maybe also why I'm asking how the question is meant, because of course we get a lot of questions about these topics in the lyrics, so which are looking at how the world is at the moment, in what direction mankind is evolving. And yeah, but as you said, I'd be glad to be touching these topics another time. For Xandria, of course, yeah, now that the album is released, we want to see our fans on the road, of course. We want to do concerts. There is already a tour announced that we will do as special guests of Delane in April. And we have a few festivals. A few more will be announced in the next time. And we are working already on maybe something for the fall. You know, something like another tour, or yeah, we will definitely be on the road. You know, we will be trying to play as many concerts as possible, because this is something that I missed. You know, we all missed it because of the pandemic, and I had a break even longer because the break of the band started before that. So yeah, we want to go all around the world again, like we did before, you know, visit all the fans. That would be really great, and we are working on that right now.
So I really hope that your tour will also hit Scandinavia, and you're gonna play also in Finland on that run.
I really hope that. We have never been to Finland before, which is a pity, because I know you people there are, you know, you are the one of the metal people in the world in Finland. So
yeah, and obviously
like,
Nightwish is our like biggest metal bands, so it doesn't go
absolutely.
like too far from you also. So
Yeah, that's right. Of course, they are a big inspiration. Like, and they are, in my opinion, they are the best band creating the greatest music in what people call symphonic metal. You know, I say it this way because for me it's not that much a genre. It's more a way of arranging songs,
yeah,
because you can put all the different genres of music in it, and they still call it symphonic metal, even though it's just metal or rock or whatever you put with orchestral music, mostly inspired by film scores, and then it's called like that. But anyway, yeah, Nightwish is the greatest in my opinion. So yeah, this is the country, obviously, for this kind of music. And we would love to play for you people there in Finland. I hope this will happen soon.
hey, thanks a lot, Marco, for the chat, and all the best for the release of the album. Anything you want to say as a closer to the fans?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Yeah, like I just said, I'm really looking forward to see all you people out there, and I hope we will come to your city very soon. And I'm just very, very thankful for the overwhelming feedback that you gave us for the new album, and I really appreciate it. And I know all the other members in Xandria, they also appreciate it very much. And I'm giving you the regards of all of them right now. So hope to see you soon.
Thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you too.
And hope to see you in Finland.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, would be really great.
But hey, thank you a lot, and it was a pleasure to do this interview, even though it was quite a struggle to get it scheduled because I have the kid still at my home sick. So yeah, it's like this week has been like a nightmare balancing things. And
all right, yeah, then I'm glad it could happen.
yeah,
It was quite short notice. I was reading the email of Sarah Jane
yeah,
at 12.
yeah.
And then I replied like, okay, in half an hour, yeah, I can do it. Okay, all right. I
Yeah,
will be home at that time.
it was the same for me because I was like, if he's not like being able to, I won't be sort of like focusing on this because the kid is at home and such. But yeah, I'm
I
glad that we did
understand.
it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you a lot and take care and hope to see you here someday.
Yeah, I really hope so too. If so, please come to the show so that we can meet,
Yeah, for
have a
sure.
beer
Let's
together,
let's have a beer or two.
yeah, that would be nice. And yeah, like you just said, like half serious, I guess, in the interview. If you would ever like to touch some other topics around Xandria in another interview, then just yeah, get in touch with me, please.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Would love
Yeah,
that because I really would love also for people in Scandinavia, also especially Finland. We have never been there to get to know the band a bit more. Would be really great. So thank you for the support.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I tend to
Mm.
do quite a lot of interviews. I did like 150 last year or something.
Oh wow,
Now
great.
I have on Sunday like 5 interviews. I'm gonna meet Mille from Creator and Randy from Lamp of God and then Tony from Municipal Waste and then do some smaller bands in between. So it's like, yeah, this is my life and it's sometimes quite hectic.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But hey, you get to meet
Yeah,
all the
I
great
don't
musicians.
face-to-face interviews are
Like,
best because you always get to meet like the person like in
mm,
person. Obviously,
yeah,
Zoom is better than doing phone interviews. That was like the
yeah,
history, and I didn't like it at all. It was sort of like a
mm,
necessary evil to do. I like it this way because now you can see your face and
yeah,
it's more
yeah,
interaction, but it's not the same that doing it face to face.
yeah, that's true. But at least we have that now. Like 10 years ago, we did not have it, the
Yeah,
possibility. So it's really good. Because it's all about the feelings, the emotions about the music that is between people
yep.
to connect with this way. And yeah, it's a bit hard if you cannot see each other or, that's it. So it's good that we can at least do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is like huge improvement. This is like
Yeah,
thanks to COVID because before COVID we didn't use
true.
Zoom for interviews. So this is a good thing that came out from COVID.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I agree.
But yeah, thanks a lot. I will go downstairs to watch the kid. How is he doing? Watching TV and have a good weekend. And like I said, hope to see you here someday.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So yeah, good luck with handling your kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, hope
I
to
will
see
be.
you one day too. Yeah.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care too. Bye bye.
Bye.